Hi guys, welcome back to another video. Today I want to talk about 5 things that you should know before moving to Italy, and then specifically Milan, since I recently got back from staying there for 3 months. One thing is traveling to Italy is going to be very different than actually living there. This thing that you need to know before moving to Italy is learn the language. I cannot say this enough. They don't really speak English. I heard that it's because they don't really learn it in school in the same sense that we do here in Norway. Something that I definitely recommend doing, especially if you're staying for a long time, even though we only stayed for 3 months. If I knew more of the basics of the language, it would have helped me so much. There will be people in Italy that do speak somewhat English, but on a daily basis, if you're trying to get new friends, meet new people, I would absolutely say you need to learn the language, and it's going to be so beneficial for you. It's going to be a lot easier to communicate with the people, and I think they will appreciate it a lot more as well, that you put in the effort to learn the language. Second thing is that they take card everywhere. Like, there is really no need to bring cash. Only certain places, if you stay at a hotel. So we traveled to Venice, for example, then there's this tax fee that they have to pay, and in Venice they wanted it in cash. That will be the only time, but they do obviously have bank. They have places where you can take out cash, so that wouldn't be a problem. I never really used cash at all. Third, you should know, is something that I'm really passionate about and something that's really important to me, is that you can drink the water from the sink. Especially in the big cities, it is absolutely not a problem. I know if you come from Norway, for example, it's going to taste differently, but I think that's something you just need to get used to, and it really isn't that big of a deal. What we did is just bought one of those glass bottles, like those big ones from IKEA. And this one right here, to be specific, actually, this is the Thai style that we bought. And you fill it with water and you put it in the fridge. If you are unsure, always Google it, but I did. Not a problem. Both environmental, and it saves you a lot of money. They have a lot of lime in their water, and it's really hard. So it depends on where you obviously travel from. I do also, in the same sense as drink the water from the sink, I do recommend finding some good hair products if you do come from a place that has softer water, because I don't know, for my hair it was really difficult to like truly wash it. It felt really tangled, and I have no idea why, but I think it's just because it was so hard and there was a lot of lime in the water. Number 4 is the public bathrooms. So a lot of the times when we traveled around Italy, and as well as in Milan, kept coming across the toilets looking like this, where there were no toilet seats. It looked like they were been falling off, they was broken. I have no idea what it was, but I talked to some friends and people, and we realized that they do keep breaking, and it's just a cost that they don't want to really invest in. Like, they don't want to keep buying new toilet seats that they're going to keep breaking. So most of the time you will end up seeing this, and when you go to the bathroom, this is what happens. Like, you get to sit on that. I just recommend being great at squatting when you go to the bathrooms, or just to be aware that whenever you go to the bathroom, this is what you will see and experience. Like, if you are on your period, I would definitely just remember to bring extra tissue paper, just in case you go to the bathroom that doesn't really have toilet paper, because it's not like they do clean them often or restock or fix these issues. That didn't seem like was a priority, and I think it was more of a cost. So why they keep breaking, I have no idea. Like, somebody needs to tell me why the toilet seats keeps breaking. No matter where you are in the world, I have no idea what people do when they go to the bathroom. Okay, don't know what's happening there. So definitely one thing to know. Not everywhere, obviously, not like really fancy restaurants and high-end bars and places like that, but like an everyday basis, going to like a cafes or anywhere there where there's just like a club. I don't know, there were so many places where I experienced this, and it was shocking every time. Like I have not experienced that, so that was very interesting to me. The fifth thing I want to talk about is the closing time. Most people will probably know this as a siesta if you've been to, as Norwegian call it, Sweden, or you know, like down south to Spain. They have these hours during the day. I think it's called riposa in Italian. There's certain times in the day where either like restaurants, cafes, certain shops are closed. So if there's a specific restaurant, cafe that you want to go to, we experienced this. It's mostly, definitely, absolutely a lot in Milan, that it was closed from about 2:30 till 7. For me, that's like a lot of hours. Like restaurants didn't open until 7. So we just had to make sure that if there was a specific place you wanted to go to, look it up and see if it's open. If you are going to have a late lunch or a really early dinner. Italians tend to have dinners really late, so more 9-10ish. Not every single cafe or restaurant, but there is a majority of them that do have these closing hours, and it very much varies from places and cities. These are like an example of what it looks like on the time and the hours in the day, so just make sure that you look that up before. And I would just want to end the video with a few tips that I learned on the go when we lived there, or I didn't learn, but I looked it up, and after some time you obviously find that certain things are just good to know. One tip is just find some good apps. I love to like make life easy, so if you want to reserve a table, the Fork is a great app for that. Or if you want to have food delivered to your house, Deliveroo is also a really good app that works well. It might just be in Italian, but obviously just Google Translate it. Obviously we don't speak Italian and had no issues with that. And that, obviously the ATM app for in Milan, that's a great one as well. I didn't really know this until I asked a friend, and she said, oh, they have an app. So it wasn't something that just popped up when I tried to Google it. It was most like go to a kiosk or do this. But this app just definitely made life a lot easier. I'm not sure how it works in different cities, but in Milan specifically, this app works really well. And they do have a great public transportation system, so it's super easy to get around. Google Translate, they have a function where you can use your camera and like hold it and scan things, so it'll translate it for you. Super helpful as well. Your house, another tips is when you do find an apartment, we rented an Airbnb, and we realized that it was pretty common to not have fire alarms in the apartment. If that is something that's really important to you, which it is to me, we tried to look up and see where we could buy one, but it was kind of difficult to understand and find a place where they did sell a fire alarm. So I would definitely recommend like researching that before you move to an apartment. Ask if there's a place that you can buy one, because I do think it's great to be, you know, better safe than sorry. And also we could not use the washing machine and the oven at the same time. I heard that it varies, because obviously the fuse might have just been connected in that apartment that we lived in, and there was only like a certain amount of electricity you could use at the same time. So definitely that's not the case in every place, but for us it was. And as soon as we learned it, it was definitely not a problem, but it was just like a bit like, ooh, what? In the beginning you were like, what is going on? Like, it was easy to switch back on, but it's just good to know, just in case if you are by yourself, or you just like realize that this is like a little bit shocking or scary. So not scary in that sense, but sometimes you do things and you're like, oh my god, what did I do? So just have that in the back of your mind. So obviously it's definitely not an issue. You can always pause the machine, use the oven, and they do have these switches in Italy that we obviously don't have in Norway, but you can turn off and on the electricity for the oven and the stove. And when it comes to the language as well, I would just say that it's kind of difficult to meet people. It might have been because I'm a bit older and I'm not like super young. Not that I'm really old. But you get to an age where it's like it's a little more difficult to meet people. Well, it really depends on where you go in the world, honestly. But Italians tend to go out in groups, and they're always mostly together in a bigger group. And we noticed that a lot when we went out, making it a bit difficult to gain friends or get to know people. Don't really speak the language as well. That combination makes it really difficult. I'm gonna end the video right there. So I really hope these tips will and ideas and things that you should just think about before going to Italy. I definitely think it's worth visiting, and it's a really beautiful country. It has amazing architecture and culture, and there's so many things to see. I also would say be patient and open-minded. That's probably my last tip, because everywhere you go, things aren't going to be the way that you think it will. Like, people have expectations. I had expectations, and it wasn't really, it was, when it doesn't really meet those expectations, you can be a bit disappointed, or you can be a bit frustrated. So I would definitely say just go in with an open mind and realize this is a different culture, and just soak it in for what it is. I think either you're going to really love it, or you're going to realize it was great, but it's just not for me. And I think that's the beauty of traveling, and you get to explore, but you get to learn so much about a different culture. And I'm definitely going back sometime in the summer. Not this summer. That's that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, as it says, comment. And I'm gonna catch you guys in the next video.